Hey, good morning. Thank you for tuning in with Profe. And it's just something really quick I want to talk about. I want to talk about a situation with Haiti. Now, a couple of days ago, the Haitian president was assassinated in his home. And right now, the reports are still coming in of some suspects, who they are, how they could have been involved, how this could have come about. So there's a lot of speculation going on right now, as it seems through the news reports. But it's crazy how a president who has a large security team can be assassinated in his own home. That is unbelievable. And I don't want to jump into any and speculate anything right now, since a lot of information is still coming out. But this seems to be, at this point, based on the reports coming from the Haitian police, a plan on a massive scale to assassinate the president. So that's where it stands right now on that topic. But I do want to talk a little bit about. I'm no expert on Haitian, culture or Haitian politics or even Haitian history for that matter. But I do have a general knowledge, and that general knowledge, I'll go into. So for those of you who don't know, Haiti shares an island with the Dominican Republic. And before the Europeans came, it was an island that was divided into different chiefdoms. I don't remember all the name of the chiefdoms on top of my head, but there were about 5 on the island. I think one of them was Harawa, Manawa, and 3 others. So when the Europeans came in, specifically, let's talk about the Spanish. When the Spanish came in, they did what they did basically anywhere, but they just started it on this island. This island was the first permanent settlement in the Americas. And they came and they spread disease, they killed, they pillaged, they killed people for sport, killed the indigenous people for sport. And once most of them had died out and was no use to them, they brought over Africans as slaves. And when the Spanish was doing so well, other European countries such as the French and the English and even the Dutch and a few others looked at the Caribbean, the Americas, as an opportunity to make some money, and most of that was through slave labor. I mean, let's be honest and not sugarcoat that. And through that, the island of Hispaniola ended up being divided between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Now, Haiti, and when the island was divided, the island was only divided as 2 different colonies when the French came in and said, hey, we want a piece of that pie too. So the French ended up taking over the western part of the island, and they had their colony. Spanish had their colony, and the French colony was very, very profitable for France. One of their main crops was sugar, and they had massive amounts of African slaves, and they were brutal. And that brutality pushed a lot the African slaves who outnumbered the French colonists by far. And in most of these areas, the African slaves far outnumbered their French colonists or slave owners, or the French colonists in general. So that turned into a rebellion that in which the African population overpowered that French population and pushed the French out. A lot of people died, as what happens in war, and they put the French people out, and they became independent in the first black independent country in the New World in 1804, followed by, I think maybe a few other countries came in the same century. But Haiti was the first. But they were not recognized in the Western world. They were not recognized. The U.S. especially would not accept any Haitian diplomats. And there was agreement between the United States and other countries, such as France and other European countries. They would not accept Haitian diplomats. They were not recognized by the international Western world. And that went on for about 20 to 30 years. And even after they were recognized at some level, they were forced to say, "Hey, we'll recognize you, but you have to pay back what you owe France." I'm like, what kind of BS is that? But that's how a lot of these countries operate. So that is the beginning of Haiti, which over time, and really quickly became sort of the Haitian country became led time after time after time by puppets. And I don't want to belittle the Haitian people or the Haitian presidency, but too often the Haitian leaders were put in a position in order to have any sort of benefit for their country, were pushed to sort of be some sort of puppet for bigger countries such as the U.S. or France, and that happened for decade after decade after decade, dictator after democratic leader after. It happened a lot, and that is what led to the Haiti we see now, where there is constant, I don't want to say constant, but it's consistently there have been just political turmoil that is, and you see, what the Haitian people go through, and the difficulties right now, especially where you are 1 month away from having a new president, and now your president is assassinated. So now the president that was elected, but that doesn't technically take office until another month or so, he is claiming he's the president. I think they say prime minister. So he's claiming he's the prime minister, and now the person that was handpicked to run the country until the new president comes in says he's the prime minister. So now you have two people claiming to be the prime minister, and in addition, the parliament, which is the legislative body, they were suspended a while back, maybe a few months or a year. They were suspended. So basically, they're not functioning right now. So now you have an executive body with two prime ministers claiming to be prime minister right now, and there is a lot of there's chaos. So now, because this is going on, and now you have the international body, for example, the Dominican Republic, saying, "Hey, we understand you have some issues." And now they have to react. And now you have the other countries. You're going to see United States, which is Haiti is very dependent upon the United States for many of the historical reasons, as I just mentioned a little while ago. And now you want to see them getting involved. And I would hate for this to turn into what we saw back in the earthquake, where you had, back in 2010 when the earthquake came, you had the United States, the UN, but the United States leading the charge for aid and everything. And then you have these companies coming in and taking advantage of the situation to benefit themselves. And I would hate for that to happen, because the real benefit needs to go to the Haitian people right now. And I just do not trust the international community, led by the United States or France or whoever that would be, to come in and really do genuine work without allowing private companies to come in and to benefit themselves and take advantage of the difficult situation that Haitians are going through right now. So I just want to talk a little bit about Haiti. I hope you learned something. Please like, share, and subscribe. And this is Profe Gayu. And thank you for tuning into my channel.